All right, everybody, this is Alex again with Game Time Streaming. We got Brandon Kessler and Josh Burd. Brandon won the diddle, so he started off with a 2 mark, and we'll see what Josh does. And actually, that fall into the 18 isn't a bad thing because it gives him another mark if he triples that 18 later. He gets points off it. What a big 9 from Josh. That hurts bad because he has two numbers now, and Kessler has to open one. I can imagine Josh is going to hit about a 7. Well, he proved me wrong. I jinxed him. I apologize for that. And that was a big last dart as well on the 15s because now it forces Kessler to go to the bulls and makes it harder for the game to go in his favor. Three bulls here from Josh, and the game will go to the second leg here. Looks like a misregistered dart, so they're gonna throw the last one, see if it sticks, and it missed. That was a decent round. Need at least a 4 mark. 5 is probably the better, but a good 6 here from Josh at the beginning, and he can take a look at those 20s. That was a big round from him. I bet you Kessler stays there, and he hits a 180. Good darts. Josh will have to hit at least a 9 or 7 here to at least get score back. There's one. He has to have this last triple because you don't want to give Kessler. There he goes. At least keeps him close in range. Yeah, with that second dart where it was, I don't blame Kessler for going down and looking at the 19s. Josh just got the point back, which is a big necessity towards in this game. Yeah, that first dart was a big blocker, and that last dart was unfortunately a miss too, and it may hurt him here. Well, it didn't hurt him as bad as it could have. A big triple, single, and another triple, and Kessler is back in charge here. Yep, there we go, and Brandon takes the lead and takes control again. Need at least a triple here. There's the big trip. Needed at least that. We don't want to have a blank round. Okay. And there's a 9 right there. Brandon Kessler hits the trip 20, trip 20, trip 18. That was a weird dart, but at least counted a single. Better than like a 3 or something. That was a huge find from Brandon. He is definitely in control of this match. Josh will have to hit a 9 here to keep himself in it. I think the reason he did that is because the double bolt is more than the trip 15, which is a smart move at this point because he needs as many points as he can the way Kessler is throwing right now. And that was a huge tag on that double bowl. And that's exactly what he was hoping to have that double bowl for, but Kessler may come up and he tags a double and a single right off the get-go. And that was a big tag by Josh. He needed those points. That was a big find on that trip 20. He needed that. But Brandon can come up here and 2 triples and take a look at it. And he gets the point lead again. That is a big round from Brandon. He needed, he can take advantage of all that now since he has the 3 highest numbers. We need Josh here to hit at least 2 trips on those 16s. There's another. Is he going to stay there? And he does, but it flights down. Well, Josh could take advantage here. Oh, those are rough darts. They are blocking the high end of the triple. Yeah, those are rough darts right there. When they place above like that, it's hard to get underneath them like you're able to. Ooh, that was right there too. I thought he had that. And Josh is not giving up yet. He hit 5 bowls. Almost a 6 or a hat trick in the black there. And Kessler does grab it. What a start from Josh. That is a way to make a statement. Even though he does not have points, he has 3 numbers that he can use if Brandon does not take advantage. Kessler is not letting off the gas. He hits a 7 mark there and puts pressure on Josh to hit at least one back. Well, we'll see if Kessler takes the chance at the 9 right now since he has point lead. He played that smart. He made sure his point lead was in range, out of range for Josh to take advantage, and he took a shot at the 20s on his last. And Kessler with a big 8 there. Technically 9, but unfortunately already had a mark on the 20s. But he is putting some pressure on Josh. Josh needs to hit a big round here to keep it to where Kessler does not get too much momentum. And that find right there on that last dart with the triple was actually very big because it keeps him 100 at least in range. But Kessler is nailing those 17s right now, and he is going to hit. Ooh, he was so close to hitting the 9. But now Josh has to capitalize with at least a 9 mark to get a point lead again. He would have liked that other triple on that 16, but at least it keeps him in range. If Kessler shuts the 16 or the 16 down. Oh, here it comes. Oh, and Kessler comes right back with a 9. Shuts everything down except the bowls. Now Josh has to hit some bowls here. And Kessler gets it. But I think that is the first loss for Josh. So I think they have to play another round in the losers bracket now, as for this is for first place. So they will probably take a quick break and get up there and start it again. And it looks like Josh won the diddle, which is a big advantage because it lets you go first on all the odd rounds, and it just gives you a better chance at the start off of starting hot. And that was a big find on the trip 20 at the end there. Even though it's not enough if he hits trip, but it puts a little pressure on him. And that was a good find by Brandon Kessler. He did that. He wanted to keep the high ground to put a little more pressure on Josh to make sure he couldn't hammer those 20s down. And he stayed there, which is very smart because even a single on another number wouldn't have helped him much. And that will open up the missing that 17, that trip 17 will open it up for Kessler to take another number from Josh. But Josh is still in this. If he hits a couple trips here and closes one of those down or hits a 9, they can flip things around. Josh is right there on that triple. It's just not landing where he wants it, and it makes it very difficult sometimes to recuperate in the middle of a game from that. But he can come back full force. I know Josh, and he is a good player. Beat me a couple times, and I know he can do it. And Kessler gets that one. Josh started that match off pretty strong there with an 80, and Brandon follows it up with a 57. I bet you Josh will shut it down and go straight up to points. And he does. Even though it's still a trip and reach, it forces Kessler to hit the 2 trips before even looking at his 20. But Kessler wanted to take a chance at shutting that 20 down because whoever's in control of that 20, it makes the game pretty much inevitable if they're hitting those. It puts a lot of pressure. And that trip 18 was just a hole out. And Kessler connects with the trip 20 to shut that down with 13 points under Josh. Josh needs to capitalize here. Has to find the triple at least, because Kessler will come up and it drops. Kessler will probably come right up and take a look at the 17s right off the get-go. He connects with a trip 18 at the end, which was a big save. Hopefully Josh here can hit a couple triples and take advantage of this game again. There's one. There's two. Is he going to take a look at the 18? And he does. But that's okay. He at least hit a single, which puts him in a good position to close it later on if Kessler closes his 17. And Kessler did not like that first dart on the 18, so he grabbed a number, which is very smart. Oh, and Josh almost had it on the 16 there, and the close on the 17s, or on the 15s. Kessler has to stay on that 16. And he hits it. Josh will probably look at the double, and he misses it. He had to take a look at the double, just the way those darts were placed. He could have got a triple, but a single wouldn't have helped him much. Two singles here, and he gets the close, and he does. But Josh could still win this with a double-double. He may... There it is, and the double is a big find, because if Kessler misses these bowls and does not point, he has winning darts. And Kessler played it right, made sure he had Josh take as many darts out of his hand before he went up at those bowls. Good game. That round right there was a rough one, especially in this last leg. He needs this leg, and Kessler will fully take advantage of that miss. But it's not as much as it could have been, because Josh can still come up in this with a trip 19, and a close on those 20s. That was not what he was expecting. And Kessler will come up in trip 19. And he points again, which is the best thing to do, because in this game, points is what wins it. But Josh says, here I am. I ain't going nowhere. I might have missed, but I'm coming right back at you. This is an opportunity for Josh, a trip 18, and he may be able to close both of Kessler's numbers, put him back in the lead here. He may close those 20s. Oh, and he stays on the 18 to force Kessler's hand, which is a very good dart as well. And that was the opening Josh wanted right there. It gives him a little bit of an opening where he can point up and close the numbers of Kessler. And he will go back up at points. Oh, and he is a hole out, but he has point lead and he has the number. I'm sure Josh will probably go up and point first. He at least hits a trip 18, which is a big tag because you do not want to give these guys a free look at any number. You have to make them use as many darts as possible to keep them out of the game. And Kessler is coming up here. Oh, and he almost had the 9. But he did take the number from Josh, which was huge. And Josh is going for the 9. But he did close out Kessler's number. All Josh has to do now is hit a trip 16, take a look at the 15s, and close them out. And I bet you he goes right back over the 16s. And he did, but it just went a little high. But he has the point lead and the number going into the bowls. And Josh comes back on that game with a double or a single bowl, double bowl to win that. Kessler starts out with a 5 mark. And Josh decides to stay down, which he wanted to get the other 57 points, but it drops low. Kessler will look down right now. Oh, and he actually proved me wrong. He stayed up there to put 180 more points on the board, which puts a lot of pressure on Josh. He has to hit a 9 here. And a 7 is actually very good because it keeps him at least in 49 points of
All right, congratulations to
Kessler.
our Logo Free Singles Cricket winners. Coming in fourth, Nick Fisher. Taking third, Rob Conklin. Second, Kathy Middleton.
Okay, Josh can hit 2 triples here. He needs at least a point lead to put some pressure on Kessler. There's one, and there's another, and he gets it by 24 points, which is awesome. Kessler will stay up there. Oh, and he hits the trip 18, which opening up another wedge is actually very, very good. Josh will stay down at that 19, and he hits a 7 again. With Kessler having 2 wedges, Josh had to ensure that he could come up and at least keep it to where he could hit trip and have the advantage still. But Kessler comes up and hits a 7 of his own. And Josh may come up here and hit the, and he hits a 9. Heck yeah, way to go, Josh. Kessler only hits 3 single 18s, but that 9 from Josh was huge. And he takes away Kessler's number and gets the point lead by 35 points. And Kessler took a look at the 19s, but he does have the point lead now, and Josh is up. I'm sure if Josh hits a triple, he will take a look at the 17s. And Josh just took a full advantage of that trip 19, double 17, and single 19. Puts Kessler in a rough position where he has to hit a 9 here. And now Josh has the opportunity to make this game out of reach for Kessler. And he does with a trip 16, trip 15, and a single 19. And that single 19 is huge because it puts another bull out of reach of Kessler using the bulls. And Josh comes back again and takes that leg with a 6-1-0. This is for the grand finale here. This is the last leg, and whoever wins this gets first place for Masters Singles Cricket. That diddle right there makes it very hard. Whoever gets to go first will have the full advantage of this leg. I know that's not what Kessler wanted, but he at least got the number closed and some points off it. Josh needs to find a triple here. And he does not, which gives a big opening for Brandon. That is a big 5 mark. I know he wanted another triple in there to get point lead, but at this point you need every dart at least to count. And Kessler just tripped 20 and closes the 18 and points some more on the last dart, forcing Josh to hit a 9 here. A trip 17 would be very beneficial, and that is what he hits. Josh right now has to hit a 9 to force Kessler a little bit, or at least a 7. Oh, and he misses that last dart, but it's only down 6 points. I know he really wanted to get the point lead. And that did not hurt as bad as it could have. But now Josh needs to get a number and close. He may close out the 19s right now. Oh, no, he stayed on the 16s. And there is a 180, and that is why those 20s are so crucial in the cricket game. They are just, every 180 is just brutal to any other number. And Josh has to connect with at least a triple here to keep himself in it, and he does not. And that was a big 6 from Brandon. But Josh can still come back on those bowls. He needs to hit a couple bowls here, and hopefully Kessler misses. And Kessler goes double, single to win it. What a great game, guys. Good job.